This video is going to be looking at some of the concepts in Chapter 5. What I have here is the piano world that I've opened up, and it's got our surface for us, and we also have the beginnings of building a set of keys. And what this is, this little white image here, is showing that that's a white key, and toward the end of Chapter 5 you're going to be adding a black key so that you have all 88 keys of the piano, but right now we're just going to work with the white keys. If I open up the piano world, you're going to see that we have called our super, which will set our surface to be this particular size. If we open up the key editor, you can see that it has essentially an empty act method. So not very much going on here. But if I come back to the surface here, and if I do a compile, I can add a key, or maybe a couple keys. And if I run this, nothing happens, as we might expect, because we just saw that the act method for the key class is empty. Now before we get going here, I want to open up the sound folder for this Greenfoot world. So let me double click on it, and we're going to be making use of these. These are all sound files playing different notes on a piano. Here we have an A sharp, a B, we have an F sharp. What we have here is individual wave files, and notice these are all in lowercase. What I'm going to be using is, I believe, the 3A and the 3B wave files, and it may not be exactly appropriate, but that's what I'm going to be doing. So let me also look back into that folder and go into the images file, and there we have available the couple images. One will be a black key being pressed in the down position, and just a normal black key. We also have a white key and a white key being pressed in the down position. Notice these are all lowercase spelling, so hopefully I won't have to come back and double check that. And in the sound files, the same is true, that we have all lowercase spellings. So let's see if we can't go back in here and start putting some code inside of the key. And the first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to put just a very simple if statement. And I'm going to, I could go back into the Greenfoot class, but I think we've used this a few times, so we'll just take it on faith that these are legitimate methods that we can use. But Greenfoot can detect the pressing of keys like we've seen in the past. And so in this particular if statement, what I'm going to say is that while the act method is running, or the Greenfoot world is running, that I want to be constantly checking to see if a key is down. Now in the beginning here, we're going to check just for the key of G, and that's not the piano G sound that maybe some of you music majors might be thinking it is, but it's actually the G key on the computer keyboard. But if that's detected by Greenfoot to have been pressed, then I'm going to call the set image that we've used many times now. So that when the G key is set, then I'm going to set the image for this key to be kind of a grade one, where it looks like it's been pressed or depressed. Then I'm going to put an else statement here, And I'm simply going to say if that's not the case, then let's go get the white key image. And I think that's all we're going to need to do here. If we have the G letter on the keyboard pressed, we're going to set the key class image to this kind of grayed image. Otherwise, we're going to reset it back to its normal image, which is what we saw there on the surface earlier. But let me compile this, make sure I don't have any errors. Looks like we're okay. And then I'm going to do a new key. Now notice when I put a new instance of a key here, this is going to look pretty much like we've seen before, but as we start developing this chapter 5, we're going to be using a constructor class where you're going to see parameters inside of these parentheses. And what that's going to do is it's going to solve a couple problems, or maybe many problems that we're going to encounter between now and that point. So let me grab that, and let me just put a couple of these on here. Now, so let me go ahead and run this, and I'm going to press my G, and you can see me pressing it, setting the images back. So the ACT method is being run faster than my fingers can press these keys. And if I hold the G key down, you can see that it's constantly being held down. So we're trying to simulate the actions of a keyboard. But the one thing that also you want to notice is these are all 3 G keys. And what we want is we want a G to control just one of these keys, and we want maybe the H key to control another one, and the F or the J key, so we can start making piano sounds. So we're not going to be able to address that issue until we get into building a constructor method for this key class. But there's also some other issues that's going on here too. And the main issue is that this ACT method is being called repeatedly. And even though we can't see it, this if statement's being executed hundreds of times per second, or thousands of times per minute, and we're having this, it's checking to see whether or not we want to set the white image, even if it has a white image. So what we're having here is this code that's running, and it's really taking up resources when it runs. One of the best ways to show that we're doing some pretty much extraneous computing here is to go ahead and set do another command here. And the other command is a Greenfoot method, which is the play sound. And I'm going to play the 3A wave file. There we go. Now in if statements, when you have more than one statement, either in the true portion of the if or the false portion, the else, you need to start blocking them together. So let me go ahead and put a bracket or a brace there so that I can form a block. There we go. Try to neaten it up just a little bit. Now what this is going to do is it's going to give us an audible presence. And when you do this at home, you're going to be able to have this work a little bit better than what I have on my video, because my video sound, my voiceover is going to interfere with the playing of the sound. But what's going to happen is when I press a key, and we detect this is key down business, then I'm going to get actually the piano A key played by pressing the G key. So let me see if I can run this and make sure don't have any errors. And then we're going to load this back up with some keys. And let me run this. And now let me press the G key. There it is. And it's a little bit slower because actually there's sound being played, but it's not audible. And if I hold this down, at home what you're going to hear is that sound being repeated, kind of like da-da-da-da-da-da. So this gives us some kind of evidence that something's not quite right. And the something's not quite right is that because this ACT method is repeating so frequently and kind of in an unsane way, that we're doing a whole lot of extra work here. So what I want to do is I want to change this if statement into something to where when you hold the key down, you'll just have a single A note played, and you won't have that da-da-da-da playing. And I want to keep this if statement here so that we can see it. And so let me just block this. Instead of putting a couple of / comments in front of every line, I'm going to go ahead and use this block feature where /* ending with a * serves as a blocking mechanism. So it's all turned blue here. And let me change this. And in order to change this, I need to have a variable. And I'm going to put it up here at the top. This is going to be a private variable. And it's going to be called the isDown. Let's make it a Boolean. And it's called the isDown variable. Basically, did I just did I just play a note? That's basically what I want this to be. It's either going to be true or false. So let me go back up here. Let me start an if statement. And at first sight, this is going to look a little bit strange, but if you go into the appendix, you can see some of these operators. And what I've used there is an exclamation point, and that is kind of a secret symbol for the word not, N-O-T. So I'm saying if the key is not down, that's what the symbols are trying to indicate. And I need a double condition here. The ampersand again in the appendix indicates that this is a symbol for the English word AND or AND. So I want to be checking two things simultaneously. If I check just one thing simultaneously, I'm going to get into that extraneous business down here. So the second condition I want to check is whether or not this key has been pressed. So let me grab it there and do a copy and put it right there with my paste. And I need, I think, an ending parentheses here, or I'll get a syntax error. So let's see. We have if the key is not down, or if the status is not down, but we have a key pressed, then I want to do a couple things. And so since I'm going to do a couple things, I want to make sure I put my brace in ahead of time. But the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to say, let's set that isDown Boolean to true. So basically what this is going to say is just played a note. And then I'll use my set image. And I guess I'm going to use both of these. So let me see if I can pull both of those in. Copy and paste. There we go. And let's use the end brace or bracket. So what this is saying is if I haven't set my note playing yet and a key has been pressed, then I want to indicate my Boolean to say that I'm about ready or I just played a note. And at the same time, then I want to do what I did earlier. I want to go ahead and set the image to that grayed down presence and then play a note. Then the second part of this is actually what we're going to do is put a second independent if statement. Here we had a if and kind of either or else. So either this was true or we're going to do this other thing. But here I'm going to make this a little bit more independent. And I'm going to say the condition is going to be is the down status true, meaning is that condition the case. And what this is basically saying, really, if you think about it, is that by asking if this is true, what I'm really saying is, did I set an image and did I play a note? Or rather, did I set this particular down image? But also, I want to make sure that my finger is not lingering. So I want to also ask whether or not this condition right there is not true. So let me copy it, put it in front of this right here, and I forgot to put my AND connector. So there's my AND connector, and here what I'm saying is, did I just do this? And this not says, did I release the key? So if I still haven't released the key, like if you remember in my video just a few seconds earlier where I kept the G key down pressed, this is what I'm trying to program in as well. So let me put an ending parentheses here. It's easy to forget it. And I'm going to do it once again, a couple of steps. And the first step I'm going to do is I'm going to say, well, if I'm about ready to change an image, I want to also change the state of it. So I'm going to make this false. And then I'd like to come back and grab this statement right there. So essentially I'm putting the same logic up here in this other if statement, but I'm being a little bit more careful about the specifics of what exactly it is that I'm doing. And I believe that's all I have to do for that one. And again, if I haven't played anything, if it's not true that I have a G or that there's a presence of depressing of a key, then I'm going to indicate, yes, I press the key, and then I set this all into motion. But if it's my is down is still is true, meaning I've just done that, then and if I have not pressed a key, meaning if I've released the key, and that's the crucial thing, if I've released the key by this, which is what this condition is trying to tell me, then I can reverse what I did up above, and then the ACT method being executed again is sitting here waiting for another key. In our case, just a G key, but eventually we're going to test for more than just G keys. So let's see if I can come back and see if I can't get that going. Cross your fingers to do a compile. And we do have an error here in my key. I need a parenthesis somewhere. Having a little hard time finding it. Okay, I think I found it here. I put an open parenthesis there. I meant that to be a bracket. So Java's a little bit unforgiving there. It's not real helpful about exactly what it is that we did. It's hard for me to see it there too. Compile all. Oh, I got a little bit lucky. So everything's working. Let's get a new key instance. And let's put it on there. And let's see if I can run this. Here I'm going to press the G key. And I'm going to hold the G key down. And then let go of it. So this is working pretty good. If you're doing this at home, what you're going to see is that you're going to see just a single G note being played. Or actually you're going to see 3 G notes being played simultaneously. but you're not going to have that when you hold the keys down. You're not going to have that da 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 sound. So what we need to do is we need to make some changes to this logic here, and essentially we'd like to be able to have a G key playing just this, a G key on the keyboard playing just this one white key. So that's what we're going to try to go in the next video with.